everybody, it's me, John Ward, and welcome back to another Dark Park Film Reviews. And as you can see from the thumbnail, this is a rant, and I'm just going to say it right off the bat. I really hated this movie. I hated The Exorcist Believer, which is a sequel to the original Exorcist from the 70s. And it throws out Exorcist 2, it throws out Exorcist 3, it throws out The Beginning, Dominion. I'm guessing, the TV show, all of that stuff. And I hated this movie. I absolutely hated it. I thought it was a horrible idea from the very beginning. That when I heard about it, and my buddy Jonathan Moody and I just we had our own little rant between each other, about it. And I don't even think that he'll ever go see the movie. I chose to see it. I'm going to be just completely upfront with this. I did not pay for it, and I will not pay for it. Stupidly, because I'm a completist. I don't know, maybe I'll buy it on Blu-ray used if it comes out like extended or a 2-disc or something like that. But I'm just stupid when it comes to this stuff. If I own, a series, then I like to have them all, even if it sucks. And I got to say, from what I've read, is William Friedkin, the director of the original Exorcist, which is by far one of the greatest horror movies ever made. And it's also a drama at the same time, said that he would have nothing to do with this movie. Ellen Bernstein said that she would have nothing to do with this movie, but I guess this talks, and they got her for a couple days. And so this is going to have spoilers. I know that the film just came out, so I'll warn you of that. And so this is going to talk about a lot of the movie. But first, I want to start with, I'm a big William Friedkin fan. My favorite film from him is Sorcerer. This also has Roy Scheider. The soundtrack is by Tangerine Dream. I love this movie. It's a remake of The Wages of Fear. And this was just, it was William Friedkin when he just got off The Exorcist, Roy Scheider from, French Connection, and then Tangerine Dream, who's done a whole bunch of soundtracks, including stuff like Legend and The Keep and a whole bunch of other movies. They do great soundtracks. I love this film. And I hope to one day get the something, I don't know, like a 4K if it comes along, or if Criterion does it, or one of these other companies that could just give it a great release. Sadly, William Friedkin and Roy Scheider have passed, so you're not gonna, unless it's old stuff, you're not gonna get anything new. But this is by far my favorite, even surpassing The Exorcist. But as far as a horror movie goes, I still think The Exorcist is the best. As far as like possession movies go, and just as far as like an overall horror film, there is something about movies that are made in the 70s. I really think the films that were made in the 70s are probably the best movies ever made, even though my favorite film is The Graduate, which was 1967. There is something about the 70s, just that decade, that just brought great movies. And that's when all of these great directors hung out. They were all friends and worked on each other's movies, and they reviewed them and gave them advice, and they had casting sessions. And I'm talking about, like Friedkin, but you also got like George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Brian De Palma, Francis Ford Coppola. All of these guys, hung out and helped on each other's movies. And it was just like this group of filmmakers that were in like a friendly competition with each other. And I don't think we've ever seen that again, which is really sad. So it's, I don't know, I just love that time period of filmmaking, and you're not going to get that back, no matter how much you try to do a new Exorcist. If it's a sequel, if it's a prequel, if it's a requel, if it's a remake, you're not going to get it. The only one that has come close to the first one is Exorcist 3. That is it. None of the other ones have even come close. Paul Schrader, who directed Dominion, he even at one point said, why am I even doing this movie? What's the point? So well, okay. So I also, from Sorcerer, I also have The Guardian. So you're probably going from one of the best to maybe one of Friedkin's worst. I have not seen this in a very long time, and so maybe I should give it another shot. But I just remember a tree being involved in this a lot. But maybe I should give it another shot. I also have, just right over here, pull this out. So this is the French Connection box set. That's 1 and 2, and Friedkin directed the first one, which still has one of the greatest car chases ever, only to not surpass, but right below it, is To Live and Die in LA. And this is a really good one. It's a nice thick box. It's a double disc. It's got a whole bunch of stuff on here. And I really like this collection. Unfortunately, certain streaming sites, I guess like Criterion is one of them, and there's another one, have censored this because certain words might offend people. So that's why physical copies are so important, because this is uncut. If you were to watch this streaming, you would have to make sure where to watch it, because you might be getting a film that's edited for sensitive people. So the first one is great, but the second one, not so much. It's directed by, John Frankenheimer, who's a great director, but this was just, this was not the best. And I think Gene Hackman has even talked about that he didn't really like it. But like I said, because I'm a completist, I have to have, I wanted them both, and it just came in this really cool box set. So, it's kind of like if you buy the Godfather series, you're really buying it for 1 and 2, and part 3 is kind of like that free disc that you get. But you want to have all 3. Well, I guess now you'd want Coda, which is an alternate cut of the film that Coppola did. So I own all of those because, once again, I'm a completist. I'm an idiot. So let's put this back into here. There we go. And so with this being said, is I am a fan of, I'm blanking on his name, David Gordon Green. I've said Friedkin so many times. I am a huge fan of his, or I used to be. And the only thing I could say to him and Danny McBride is do fucking better. Do fucking better. Okay? You guys are great together. And let's take a quick look at their stuff. So David Gordon Green started off doing independent films. So this is 2000. George Washington, great movie. All the Real Girls, great movie. Undertow, great movie. Snow Angels, have not seen. Then it's interesting is, I guess that's when he met Seth Rogen, is the next thing is Pineapple Express. And I'll even say to Seth Rogen, do fucking better. Nobody cares about your woke garbage that only appeals to about 1% and does nothing. And it bombs and it tanks, and nobody wants to see this garbage. and go back to being that overweight pot smoking guy that has, you know, that laughs all the time, because that's what people like. They don't like this new Seth Rogen, and I don't like this new David Gordon Green, and I don't like this new Danny McBride. And I love Danny McBride. He has one of the greatest entrances, I think, in film history, in the film This Is the End. Him being introduced as himself in that is brilliant. It is great. And I love that movie. Absolutely love that movie. Plus, I love End of the World films. So, I mean, it's right up there in my, probably at least in my top 10, maybe close to top 5 of my favorite End of the World movies. So you got Pineapple Express, great film, really enjoyed it. Your Highness, The Sitter, okay, it was okay. I'm not going to name them all because some of these I don't even know. He did direct a Nicolas Cage movie. And if you guys follow, you know, my channel, you know I love Nicolas Cage. Tom Cruise, Nicolas Cage, they're, depending on the day, they're like that. But he did a movie called Joe, which I own right up there. And he also did Our Brand is Crisis, which is nice. It's political, and I enjoyed that. Then we get into Halloween, and that's 2018. Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, and then Exorcist, Believer, and then I guess 2025. So we got 2 years to wait. Exorcist, Deceiver, and then there's supposed to be a third one. So basically, it was Universal, but also kind of Blumhouse. Blumhouse put in, I guess, money to make the movies, but Universal spent $400 million to buy the rights from Morgan Creek to the rights for The Exorcist. I'm going to guess, without any plan at all, that somebody, maybe it's Jason Blum, got together, you know, with David Gordon Green and Danny McBride and said, let's make a trilogy, without probably any idea of what they're doing. And it's like, oh, okay, because now everything has to be planned in advance. Everything, but it's not planned in advance. It's just set in advance. So I'm going to correct myself on that. That it's, how about just making one movie and seeing if it does well? If it does well, then make a second movie. If that second movie does well, then make a third movie. It's that simple. You don't have to sit there and say, we're going to make a trilogy right from the beginning, because maybe there's not enough story. And we definitely saw that with the Halloween movies. So, and here's another thing I'll say with David Gordon Green, is he is now a different director. I'm from the Halloween movies. He is a different director. And television, the stuff that he has done with Danny McBride is great. So when I heard that he was going to be doing the Halloween movies, I was excited, because I'm like, oh, wow, we're getting this guy who works with Danny McBride, and he's like an independent filmmaker, and we're going to get like a completely different like look and story and all of that stuff for the Halloween movies. Wow, was I wrong. But he's done Eastbound and Down. These are all with Danny McBride. Great. Wow, that was a great show. He also did Vice Principals, Danny McBride, another great show. Righteous Gemstones, still on right now. It's going into its next season. I think we're now on, I want to say season 4 is going to be coming out probably next year. Great show. And a lot of this stuff, very politically incorrect, which is nice. I love politically incorrect. So I'll let people know who are maybe watching this for the first time. I am an atheist and I'm a Democrat. So, and I'm not a liberal. So I'm actually a Democrat, kind of to the right, but I love incorrect humor. I love when filmmakers and comedians and stuff make things uncomfortable, because that could be some of the funniest things. So what these guys have done in the past is great to me. I love it. And there's a reason why they keep working together and why they keep making shows together and movies together, is because they're very talented. And so right? Once again, David Gordon Green even worked on The Sex Lives of College Girls, which is Mindy Kaling. I like that show. I watch it. It's HBO, and I think the show's very funny, and it is politically incorrect. I enjoy that. He is David Gordon Green is a producer on that show Telemarketers, which I do have an interest in, but I did not know until right now that he had anything to do with that. So we're going to take a quick look at Danny McBride. We're not going to go through everything, but it's okay. So he's already worked with David Gordon Green on their first film, All the Real Girls. Way of the let's see, the Foot Fist Way was funny. Hot Rod was funny. Super Bad was funny. He's got some Drill Bit Taylor. We got the Pineapple Express, Tropic Thunder. He's also Observe and Report, which is a great Seth Rogen movie. I absolutely love that. Up in the Air, Despicable Me, Your Highness, 30 Minutes or Less, This Is the End. Let's see, The Sound and the Fury. What else do we got here? Sausage Party, which was funny. Alien Covenant, which I think is Ridley Scott, which I think is better than Prometheus. It's still not good. It's the greatest ripoff on Alien, and I think Forbidden World that I've ever seen. And I thought he was really good in it. I thought it was very interesting to have him in Alien Covenant. There is a prologue that's on YouTube that you can watch, which is called Last Supper, and it has James Franco in it, because he was the original captain of the ship. But in the movie, you don't see it. But in this short, you do see him. And so that's recommended. The Disaster Artist, great movie. Arizona. And then we get into Halloween. He also, Angry Birds 1 and 2, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, and Exorcist, Believer. As far as television goes, here we got, Eastbound and Down. We have Vice Principals, The Righteous Gemstones, Telemarketers. I mean, he's got some really good stuff. And it's just like, why? Dudes, do better. Do better. All you're doing is ripping people off. You're wasting their time. You're stealing their money for doing half-ass movies that you only had an idea for the first film, and that includes Halloween. And then you just have to throw shit together to continue it because you already, you're obligated to make a trilogy. So if we look at stuff like William Friedkin, compared to their films, you have stuff like The Boys in the Band, The French Connection, Exorcist, Sorcerer, The Brinks Job, Cruising, Deal of the Century, To Live and Die in LA, Rampage, very underrated film, The Guardian, Blue Chips, Jade, Rules of Engagement, The Hunted, Bug, which was interesting, Killer Joe, and then the last film he did, which was this year, actually, well, it came out this year at least, is The Kane Mutiny Court Martial. There is a great documentary on him that I've seen twice, I think. I would not mind watching it again. It's just called Freakin', and that was good. But he's also done, some documentaries, TV series, TV movies, like the 1987 version of 12 Angry Men, which I think now is called 12 Angry People. God forbid we just keep to what the original is. And then he has a list on here of like a ton of movies that just never happened. So I don't understand it. Now, before I go any further, I do want to thank some people, because I wasn't going to make this video. I was just going to say, you know what? The movie sucked. Just let it go. It's either going to make money or it won't make money. In this case, I really don't want it to make money. And with saying in the past that I want horror movies, basically like horror and sci-fi movies, I always want them to make money, because then we'll get more of them. If we get something like The Exorcist, Believer, or the Halloween trilogy, that gets people to go back and watch the other movies. And we may get, like on Blu-ray or DVDs, 4K and stuff, we'll get special editions coming out, which is great. So even if it's something bad, I don't know. I mean, I don't really want Exorcist, the Believer, or I did that wrong. The Exorcist believer to me. I don't know if I wanted to make money or not, but some people that I do want to thank, and this is myself doing a first call out for some of these people. One, of course, is Red Letter Media. Their review for The Exorcist Believer is great. I even put up on Facebook Mike's quote that when he, instead of calling it Exorcist, he called it Wokercist, because the film is stupidly political. And I'll get into that in a second. So there's a YouTuber, and she's called Haunted Hippie. She has her own channel. I watch a lot of her. She did a really great review on The Exorcist Believer. Of course, there's also Mr. H Reviews. There's Jeremy Johns. He also did one. Cody Leach. He also did one. And 3C Films. So all of these people gave this film really bad reviews, and they encouraged me. I don't know any of these people. I just know them from YouTube, but they did encourage me to make this. So with all of that being said, saying this again, do fucking better. Do fucking better. And you can look at other series. Like, my favorite franchise is Chucky. I know a lot of people don't like Seed. I love Seed. I love every Child's Play movie, every Chucky movie. I'm love the TV series, both seasons. They now just started season 3, where Chucky's in the White House. And I enjoyed the first episode. The only thing I didn't like about that is that the president in that is an independent. And I'm guessing that's the way to go, to not piss off both sides. Because if you make him a Republican and Chucky's killing Republicans, that may turn off the audience. And if they're Democrat, same thing. So you make him an independent. Okay, fine, whatever. That would be my only gripe. But to me, there hasn't been one bad movie or one bad show. So work fucking harder. Do better. Make better movies. Actually sit down. This is the problem with fucking Disney and Kathleen Kennedy and the Star Wars movies and the TV shows that she brings out. There are no plans. Everything is messed up. None of it makes sense. Each of them does worse than the last. And if you enjoy all this stuff, fine, whatever. You can enjoy garbage like Ahsoka, where it's really just padding for like, what is it, 8 episodes or something, 6-8 episodes, and then it just rips off The Force Awakens pretty much. I mean, if you like it, fine, whatever, but it's just bad. So like I said, I'm a completist, so I do own Halloween. I think it's the best of the 3. It's 90 minutes. It's really tight, and it doesn't tell you everything. It doesn't tell you how Michael got caught. It doesn't tell you any of that stuff. And I really like this. I think it has a great soundtrack by John Carpenter. And I've seen this probably at least 3 times now, maybe 3 or 4 times. So out of the 3, I think this is best. And I think it is one of the best Halloween movies. Do I dislike the Halloween films as much as I do the Exorcist Deceiver? I would probably say that I like these better, because Halloween has always been messed up to begin with. It's always had different timelines. It's had different directors, different producers. It's had different actors. It's had different stories. Sometimes Laurie Strode is there. Sometimes she's not. Sometimes it's her daughter. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's played by Daniel Harris. Sometimes it's not. And so it's all messed up, just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I find these to be more acceptable. This I still think is the worst one. Halloween Kills. If I never want to hear Evil Dies Tonight ever again. And as I'm sure somebody will write it in the comments down below to be cute. But it is the most overused line. And this is all about 40 years ago. 40 years ago. Oh my God, shut the fuck up. they obviously had no plans after this, no plans at all. And it's the extended cut, so that's good, I guess, but it's still the worst. I think it's the longest. The soundtrack isn't really even that interesting, and I just thought it's just bad. I tried rewatching it when I got Halloween Ends, and which is a collector's edition, and I did like Halloween Ends better this time. I hated it when I saw it. I'm like, if I want to see Christine, I'll just go watch Christine. And I did like it a lot better after this viewing. So I think it's the second best out of the three. And then I tried watching this again, and I had to turn it off when they got to the hospital, and they just kept saying, you know, evil dies tonight. I just could not do it. And this is just all from bad writing. None of the Halloween films are poorly directed or poorly produced or poorly edited or poorly lit. It's just the writing is bad. And so how can these, I mean, what, they just didn't know what to do after this. They just then obviously they told the story they wanted to with this, and then like, well, fuck, now what do we do? Well, I guess we'll just make Christine and not really have Michael Myers in it, and we'll do this, proving that they just don't have any plans. Oh yeah, we'll just do a trilogy, but we have no story for it. So that is with The Exorcist Believer. That's the big problem, is the story is awful. It looks good. I want to say it was well directed, but it wasn't. There's no creativity to the directing. It's very standard. To me, it almost feels like a movie that was made for MTV. There's shitty editing that's confusing. And it's just, I got to go check something here because I want to talk about it. And it's just not, so I'm blinking here. It's just not well done. It's just not Pazuzu. That's what I was blanking on that. So if I hear in one of these sequels, you know, Pazuzu dies tonight, I'm gonna have a friggin' heart attack. And it's and saying, you know, 50 years ago, Pazuzu, you know, so now Pazuzu dies tonight. So like I said, there will be some spoilers. So the story with, and I'm going to do this all in a nutshell. The story for The Exorcist Believer is we have a dad who, I guess, well, at the beginning of the movie, he's with his wife. They're in Haiti. She's pregnant. She gets taken to a woman who is, I guess, putting some sort of good magic kind of like spell or something for the baby. And then they're photographers, and an earthquake hits. The wife is in critical condition. The doctor says you could choose one. Either your wife has to die or your daughter has to die. And we don't see who he picks. That cuts to present day. And I guess we're supposed to take that the dad, he's a black guy, is now an atheist, even though it's never said that he's an atheist. So thank you for having the balls. I mean, it's like, just say he's an atheist. Just say, after my wife died, I lost all faith. I don't believe in this anymore. I am an atheist. Which, by the end of the movie, because this is a possession film, which means God does exist, he then changes back. And he has to believe to try to save his daughter. But they never mention that he's an atheist at all. He has his daughter. There's another daughter, and it's a white family. Now, because this is, as Mike pointed out on Red Letter Media, you know, the wokercist, the white family, of course, is the Christian family, conservatives. It's never said, but most likely Trump supporters. They go to church all the time. The mother is very religious, and they live in a very nice house, while the black dad and the daughter don't. You know, it's more just like a regular place. I think it's I believe it's a house, but it's just like a house. And the two daughters go, and for some reason they go out into the woods. They find this place that kind of looks like a bunker, and they go in there, and the black girl wants to get she wants to contact her mother. So they do this kind of ritual, and it's horribly edited and very confusing to what is going on. And they're missing for 3 days. 3 days. Christ returned in 3 days. See? And so they come back, and they're messed up. And a lot of like the cops and the people at the hospital, like the doctors and nurses, including the parents, think that they got abducted and they were possibly raped. So they go through the everything to test the two girls. They ask them questions. They take the photographs. They take the samples, and they keep getting worse. Kind of zombified, and then they start hitting their head against glass, and they start saying weird shit, and it gets to the point where they now start looking like Regan from the original movie. And the mom, the white mom, immediately, because she's so religious, immediately says, oh, they're possessed. Why? Because of religion? How about you do like what they did in the original movie, where the mother, Chris, takes who's Ellen Bernstein, takes Regan to the to the doctor. They do all of the experiments science-wise. And it's only that she is desperate that she takes Regan to the all of a sudden she starts getting the church involved. And that's where we start getting this kind of weird thing where they bring in different religions. So the white family has the Christian priest. There's a nurse that was going to become like a nun, but she had an abortion. So that's where a Catholic priest comes in. And then the black dad brings in kind of like, it's not voodoo, but it's like a black woman who does a lot of like the smoke, and she draws symbols on the ground. And so they bring in all these people, and the black dad, goes to the house that Ellen Bernstein's in. So now it's a requel. So now we have legacy characters that are coming back. And once again, Linda Blair. Why am I forgetting everybody's names? So she talks about how Linda Blair, Regan, they don't talk anymore. So this is something that doesn't make a lot of sense. So Ellen Burstyn's character wrote a book, told about the experience, but if you remember the ending of The Exorcist, Regan doesn't remember anything. It's said that she forgot everything. But there is something that when she looks at a priest, she hugs the priest. Like there's something back there telling her that something went on. So she hugs the priest, but she doesn't know anything. So I'm guessing she read the book, got pissed off at her mom, and now hasn't talked to her in a very long time, like since the book came out. That's what I'm thinking happened. And this is the part where it's like, oh my God, It's the worst part. And like I've said, I'm Democrat, I'm an atheist, but I am so tired of this woke culture that, so when the black dad goes over to talk to Chris, that um she says that she was not allowed, and this is brought up in many reviews, but I really feel that it needs to be brought up because it is something that could have so easily have been changed. And for me, once Ellen Bernstein did show up, the movie kind of went downhill even more. We just didn't need her. She's like 80 or 90 now. They probably had her for like 2 days, 3 days. She has to walk with a cane. I heard that she didn't want to do the movie, but like I said, this counts. So she says the reason why she wasn't allowed in the room, in the original movie, while the two priests are doing the exorcism on Regan, is because, oh, god damn, the patriarchy. The fucking patriarchy. Once again, guys, do fucking better. Do better. Because later on, she goes to visit the possessed white girl. And by the way, for some reason, all these kids have to be like 12. Riga was 12. These two girls are 12. And she's talking to her, and she goes to the white girl, we've met before. Have you? Because unless I missed it, and this I did see in a theater and not a drive-in, like with Scream 6, I don't remember Bazulu ever coming up. And that doesn't make any sense. And that's actually stolen from, like The Exorcist and Exorcist the Beginning, or Dominion, is that Father Karen from those prequels already knows the demon. So when he gets into Exorcist, it's kind of like a reunion. And they're trying to do the same thing again. And does she? Because I didn't think this was Bazulu. No, am I not? I'm just not saying it right. Pazuzu. And so it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. And then the possessed white girl takes these things and shoves them into like Chris's eyes. She gouges out her eyes and spends the rest of the movie in the hospital with her eyes all bandaged up. And it's like, okay, idiot, that's why they didn't let you in to the room during the Exorcist or exorcism in the first movie. That's why. You're not a priest. You're not an exorcist. You're just an actress who is trying to help her daughter. But now, and they probably, and both of the priests die in The Exorcist. So, I mean, you probably would have died too. But yet you're blaming the patriarchy for not allowing you to go into this room. Oh, men, because men are bad. Men, they destroy everything. And so that's bad. That was bad. Okay, well, if they didn't let you into the room with the possessed white girl, you wouldn't have had your eyes gouged out, idiot. And it's like, it's your own fault that this happened. It's just, you should have waited. You should have never gone in. You should have stood at a distance. But no, you know everything just because you're a mom who, 50 years ago, basically, was a witness to her daughter's being possessed in exorcism. And now you think you know everything because you wrote a book. And it's the worst. It's just, and I almost just wanted to just stop right there. And then, and of course, I thought it was weird. And the guys on Red Letter Media do go over this, and I think it's 100% true, is they go through the casting of the two girls. Okay, and I'll make this very short because they do it better than I could. You know, when the executives are talking about this, should we make it two white girls? Oh, no, we can't do that. Oh, no, actually, he starts with, should it be a boy? No. Should it be a black boy? No, because it has to be a girl. Okay, so is it one white girl? No. Okay, so two white girls. Oh, no, we can't do that either. One white girl, one black girl? Oh, yes, we can do that. And it's basically pandering to people that one girl is white and one girl is black. And the black family is looked at in a lower way by the white family that has a lot more. And these two girls are friends, but yet the families have never met, which I thought was kind of weird also, because they fight about that. And like I said, there are going to be spoilers. There are spoilers. So I'm going to ruin the ending of the movie for you coming up. But before that, so let's take a quick look here. So this kind of goes along with the William Friedkin stuff so this was my original, this is the complete anthology, The Exorcist. And it has every Exorcist movie in it. It's a thin boxes. And I love this thing. I think this thing is just awesome. So there's Exorcist, Exorcist 2, Exorcist 3, and then we got Exorcist 4, which are the prequels. And so The Exorcist, excuse me, has on it the original classic and the version you've never seen, which is kind of like, I guess, the director's cut that Friedkin put together. It's got the spider or a crab crawl, or is it the spider crawl that Regan does down the stairs? So it's like this. And then you get Exorcist 2, The Heretic, which is John Borman. I might be one of the few people who actually likes Exorcist 2 because it is so removed from the original movie that and you don't want them just repeating. So I kind of liked it. It's weird enough that I like it. It's got a great cast too. And this one has on it, let's see, it has, where did I see it? It's got, oh, it's not on this one. Okay, so this is just the theatrical version. So there is a different version of this. So this is just the theatrical. These are all widescreen too. So, and then Exorcist 3. And I'm going to sneeze. Ooh, excuse me. So always comes in twos. A lot of people consider this to be the best sequel, which I would agree with. And some people think it's even better than The Exorcist. So this one is written and directed by William Peter Blatty, who wrote the book Legion, which this is based off of. But in the book, there is no exorcism. So the studio, which would be Warner Brothers, had him write in an exorcism. And Father Karen is I believe it's Father Karen, if I'm not wrong. I don't want to get the two priests confused, but I do think it is Father Karen. So let's take a quick look at The Exorcist here. And Jason Miller, Karras, Dr. Damien. There we go. There's a whole other series right there. Father Karras, not Karen, Karras, is in this. There is a like when George C. Scott is talking to the demon is in this. So this one is Exorcist 3 is really good. And then it has on here Exorcist the Beginning and Dominion prequel to The Exorcist. So this is Rennie Harlan and this is Paul Schrader. Dominion was made first and it did not test well. People said it was boring, I guess. This is the one that Paul Schrader's like, why am I even making this movie? So then they brought in Rennie Harlin to basically remake the entire movie. So it's a very different film. It's got some of the worst CGI I've ever seen. But I think they're hyenas and they just look horrible. But this whole set is worth getting because everything is on its own disc. So this is what I've had for a long time. And I really like this box set. It's like the Omen box set, which is really good. Then recently, I just got, and this is from Scream Factory, the collector's edition of Exorcist 2, The Heretic. I do not have the Exorcist, which is the 4K. It's like the 100-year one for the studio. But this is, like I said, from Scream Factory. This is the one that has, it's a 2-disc set, including 2 cuts of the film, 117-minute and 202-minute versions. Because there is the theatrical cut, and then there's like a TV cut of the movie, which is different. And it's nice. They put both of those on here. So I'm interested in watching both of those. And then it's got the original poster inside here. So this is the original cut, and then this is the original home video cut. Which, yeah, if I remember right, it came in like a big box back in the day. And that version of The Exorcist 2 is different than what came out in the theater. After a while, they removed that version, and you could only get the theatrical cut. And now Scream Factory has brought out both. So this is also worth getting. And then they brought out, and it's The Exorcist 3, William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist 3. It's 4K Ultra HD plus Blu-ray. It's a collector's edition. And this, unfortunately, I don't have 4K right now, but I can watch the Blu-ray. It's got on it, it's 3 discs. So disc 1 is the Exorcist 3 theatrical cut, which is 4K. Then disc 2 is Exorcist 3 theatrical cut Blu-ray. Then then you got disc 3, Legion director's cut Blu-ray. So you got 2 different versions of the movie, but 2 of them are Blu-ray, 1 of them is 4K, so 3. And this is also Scream Factory. And it's got the 4K on there. So here's the 4K Ultra HD theatrical cut version. That's going to look great. And for those of you who have seen or may not have seen this has one of the greatest jump scares ever. Other movies, low budget, big budget, have tried to duplicate it. It has never been duplicated. This jump cut in one scene, and it's one shot, is freaking brilliant. And it is, so many people have tried to duplicate this, and it just doesn't work. Then here's Exorcist 3 theatrical cut Blu-ray, and then here's Legion, because that was the original title before it was changed to Exorcist 3, Blu-ray director's cut. So this is definitely worth getting. So to get back to The Exorcist Believer, which I'm guessing is maybe the black dad who wasn't a believer is now a believer. You also have the white dad who I guess isn't as Christian as we thought, because they need to remove their shoes and the dad won't do it. The dad leaves only to come back later, and then he takes his shoes off and joins. The Christian priest, he goes to the church. The church says we cannot sanction an exorcism, so that's it. He tells that to the people there. They beg him to come and do this, and he won't. But the black dad sees him out in the car, convinces him to come inside. So now we have going all at once, like these 3 different religions, so to speak, trying to get this devil out, which to me is stupid, because we know it's a Christian thing. The all the Exorcist movies, it's a Christian thing. It's a Christian demon, and we know what it is. So it's the only way of really getting this is that you need like Catholicism to get the demon out of the girls' bodies. And so the stuff with the woman doing the smoke and making the symbols, totally pointless. The Catholic priest who's dressed more plain clothes, who's with the white people, and then you have the Christian priest who's in the whole priest thing with like the collar and all that. Was brought in through the woman who wanted to be a nun but had the abortion. And of course, like I said, spoilers, like I said, spoilers. This is now the 3rd time. So we find out, of course, that the devil, who I guess is supposed to be Pazuzu, I guess, I don't know. I mean, please let me know if I'm wrong, or are we just assuming it is. Both girls give like horrible secrets. Like the dad, the black dad, we find out actually wanted the wife to be saved, not the daughter. And so his daughter brings that up. And I thought that was a good little twist. I actually liked that. And then then of course one of the girls, I forget which one, it might be the white girl, brings up that the nurse who had the abortion, she brings up that whole thing. And there's the twist in it, I think, is one, I knew what was going to happen just because of the politics that have already been brought up. So the demon says to everybody there, you have to choose. One of them has to die. And neither family, the white family or the black dad, will do that. And so then the demon says, oh, then both of them will die. So they have to pick. The black dad does not. He refuses to do it. He's not going that route. But the white dad, because he's, you know, it's, and you can't really blame him. I mean, you want to save your own kid. He says, I choose my daughter. And I kind of looked at it as, because it's a trick and the demon lets them know it's a trick, that whichever girl was going to be saved, the other one would die. So it wouldn't matter. And I also kind of looked at it as, because like the black dad would not choose either one, but the white dad chose his daughter, that the devil switched it because the white dad is selfish and the black dad is not. That's kind of how I took it. Or it's just literally just a trick from a demon. And the black girl survives, the white girl dies, and we see her getting like pulled into hell. It's in like a kind of like a tunnel thing with water, and which is messed up because neither one of these girls did anything to deserve any of this. But like I said, with like the politics thing, I knew the second that was brought up that the black girl would live. I just knew it. It's the way society is today. If the white girl lived and the black girl died, there would be absolute outrage. So we have to, of course, take the more conservative family, kill their daughter because of the politics of the filmmakers, and we have the black girl live. And it's, to me, that was just predictable on just what was being done. Were there any things that I liked in this? Not really. They kind of barely use the Exorcist music. When they do, it's kind of different. Did I like the idea of the two girls, and I like that they're tied in chairs, kind of like back to back. I did like that. And they always, if you follow the Scream movies, it's a requel because it has legacy characters in it, and so everything has to be bigger. But this is also very safe. I have friends that are religious. They won't use a Ouija board, even though it's a toy that was created by Hasbro, and you could buy it at Toys R Us or Walmart or whatever it is, but they won't touch one. I know some of them probably won't see this because of the whole possession thing. And so that type of stuff really freaks them out. And that's fine, because I don't think anybody should see this movie to begin with. And especially with ticket prices. I was amazed at really about how much money Saw X was. And I saw that when I got off work, and it was, no, I didn't. I saw that during the day, the first show, which I think was like 1 p.m. And I had a gift card for $30 that my friend Chris gave me for my birthday, Chris Ivan, and who's been on One Filmmaker, if you want to check that out. He's a musician. And I basically, from buying the ticket to getting a few things at the snack bar, that card was gone. So ticket prices are massive these days. And so I don't recommend anybody watch this. It will be streaming soon. Give it till November, maybe December, and it will be probably November. It will be streaming, and then you'll probably get like a physical copy, like December or January. But I would not pay for it unless you want to sail the high seas. Some people know what that means, and watch it that way. There are ways of streaming. But is there any dialogue in this I liked? No. Was there any shots I liked? No. They pretty much just, in different ways, just rip off the first movie. And I am very much, I don't think that people should do that. I don't think that you should have all of these branches out from the original movie. That if you're making Nightmare on Elm Street and it's Nightmare on Elm Street 7 or whatever, you need to include part 2. Part 2 happened. You can make up a reason for why it happened, but all the movies should count. And so I hate this branching thing. I think it's more acceptable for the Halloween movies, like I said, because there has been so many, and they're in these different worlds. And in one world, Laurie dies, and in another world or multi-universe or whatever it is, she lives. But Blumhouse is already planning another movie, probably another trilogy. I'm going to guess probably 2025 we'll have a brand new Halloween movie. Will The Exorcist Believer actually have 3 films? I don't know. Right now, for David Gordon Green, it's Believer and Deceiver, which is 2025. For Danny McBride, it's only listed as Believer. The third one is not listed at all on like Wikipedia. So I don't know, but I just can't think of anything. Was the music good? No, not really. Directing good, editing good, not really. Ellen Bernstein just seemed like a waste of time. Like they just had her in there just to have a legacy character. Linda Blair does make an appearance for like 30 seconds at the end of the movie, and you would never guess it's Linda Blair because she is obviously so much older from the first film, and it looks like she's had work done. That if for some people, if Ellen Bernstein, who Chris didn't say, because now she has some weird psychic thing, Regan, is that you? And then you kind of see, like, you don't see the head, and she's like, yes, Mom, it's me. And then they hug, meaning that probably Linda, that's maybe a setup for Linda Blair to be in 2 and 3, or at least 2. Probably Ellen Bernstein is not going to come back, especially at her age. And then Linda Blair will take it over. But it's, oh, I can't think of anything good in this. I really can't. I know I'm an idiot. I know I'm going to rewatch it when it's actually streaming. I know that it's Universal, so it will be on whatever streaming service Universal has. And then I'll probably buy it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about this. If you made it this far, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Please go check out those other, YouTube creators and their channels. I watch them a lot, and so far, I've agreed with most of their reviews on things, but not all of them. Especially if they're doing a ranking or best of the year, I may disagree with where these movies are put. But if I had to, as of right now, rank these, I would probably say the best would be, wow, this is a toss-up. It depends on what day it is. But Exorcist, the original, would be first, then Exorcist 3, then Exorcist 2, then Dominion, then The Beginning, because God, those visual effects are awful, and then Believer. I've never watched the TV show, so I can't say anything about that. Just like I brought up The Omen, I never watched the Omen TV series. I did watch the pilot for an Omen series that was never picked up. But yeah, I haven't watched any of those. I heard the Exorcist TV show was pretty good, but I never watched it. So yeah, so that's really about it. So thank you for hanging out, and let me know below if you like the movie or not. You're perfectly fine to like whatever you want and have your own opinion. Just be nice about it. It's I attack the filmmakers. I don't attack the people who like it. It's I do have on my channel a kind of like a series that I do called Two Filmmakers Reviewing One Film, and that is normally a movie I don't like, and I'll find somebody who did, and then we debate it for a while. Sometimes my opinion has changed, and sometimes it hasn't. Sometimes their opinion has changed, and sometimes it hasn't. So maybe I'll find somebody for The Exorcist Believer and see if I can debate. I don't know too many people who liked it. Excuse me. So, okay, so that's it. Throat's getting dry. I forgot my water. And I appreciate you watching this. Please avoid this movie. It's so bad, it's making me cough. If you got to watch it, just watch it streaming. Please don't pay for it. It's not worth it. You're not going to get anything out of it. It's not scary. It's got jump scares, which the original doesn't. It's just not interesting. It's just not good. And once again, I'll just say, David Gordon Green, Danny McBride, and I'm including Seth Rogen on this, do fucking better. Make better movies. Okay? You're not the God, the God's gift that you think you are for these movies. So just do better. You know, make us want to see your films. Right now, I don't. I see the new Exorcist making some money on its opening day, and then it's probably going to have a huge decline. But next week it just really just because it's just not interesting. And there's other horror films coming out this month. So it's look for other horror films to go see, and not this one. Totally Killer, I recommend. I very much recommend Totally Killer. And that's also Blumhouse. And that's a Back to the Future slasher movie. So if you like Happy Death Day, things like that, kind of the Groundhog Day or the time travel, you'll probably like that one too. So go check that one out. It's much better than freaking Believer. So all right, everybody, thanks. I appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon on the next video. All right, bye.